Well, hello everybody, and welcome back. We're back for another Sunday show. Hope everybody's doing really well today. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of interesting things to talk about today. And we're going to be doing that in a second. Just if I could take care of this thing first here. There we go. Oh, hearing myself in my headphones is never a good thing. Hey guys, welcome back. Today's show 236. We're approaching the big C. The Christmas time is here, and I hope you guys are not scrambling to get last minute presents and all that craziness that comes along with it. Hopefully you get a chance to enjoy some quality time with your loved ones and be able to bring in the upcoming new year in style. I think a lot of people look forward to this time of year to be able to spend with their family. I know I do. It's always great to have a couple of days off as well, just to be able to recharge the batteries. I think everybody needs it at this time of year. So today we're going to have a lot of very cool stuff to talk about. I was just looking at the chat in the waiting room while I was getting ready, and looks like a lot of you are very active with some new gear and new acquisitions, and I want to hear all about it. So don't be shy. Please post whatever you guys want to talk about in terms of new stuff that you want to share with the group. We always look forward to hearing about the new acquisition, so post it in the chat. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, you want to do that first. Otherwise, you won't be able to share all the good stuff with us. So, welcome to all of the regulars. I think we have a lot of familiar faces in the house. And every now and then we do get a few newbies that trickle in. So, welcome if you're new. As per usual, you'll be able to watch this show live for about an hour or so today, and then if you miss it, no fear, it'll be posted. The rerun will be posted on my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to watch that with all the comments and all the feedback and all the great chit chat that goes back and forth on these shows. This show is basically all about gear, guys. It's not anything new. You guys know what Addicted to Gear is all about. It says it right in the name. We're all about gear, so we're here to share information about gear. So let's get started. Let's jump right in. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, and I don't want to miss out on all the good stuff. So welcome to Rexomatic, Dan, Eddie, Rico, David, Steve. Just going down the list here. Cushman, Nicholas, Time Surfing Alien, and the rest of the guys. I'm not going to go down and say hi to every single one, but welcome to all you guys. Now, I know there was already a couple of questions that came through here, and I can tell who's been paying attention because I see the question marks before the actual question. So if you have a question that's directed to me, please do that. Put the question mark in front so I can spot it right off the back. Jack says, our good friend Jack Collins. Hey Jack, how's it going, man? He says, Tony, I did get some new pickups for one of my guitars today. El Nico 5 Vintage Classics. Jack, where did you get them from? Which brand is that? Vintage Classics. I'm just trying to think. Maybe those are Tone Riders. Could that be it? Just curious. How do you like them? The El Nico 5s are my go-to when I look at pickups for my guitars. I usually go to El Nico 5s. Sometimes I'll actually go to hybrids where they mix poles. You can have a combination of El Nico 5s and El Nico 2s. That's interesting sometimes as well. So good. I'm curious to hear how you like them. Jack says Merry Christmas to everyone. Mark says sup guys. Now, Mark, I think you in the waiting room, you mentioned that you got something new. I believe you got a Takamuni. I don't know how everybody pronounces that name slightly differently. But the T Jumbo, very nice. Hey, I thought you already had an acoustic guitar, Mark. What's going on? Did you already sell it? the other one, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, I believe you had mentioned that you had you had purchased a PRS acoustic. So does this replace that one, or you're just getting another one just for a different tonal flavor? Charlie says, "Hey Tony, hey Charlie, what's up? Casey Lee, new guitar day. D'Angelico DC Mini violin burst. Ah, that's sweet, man. I love violin bursts. Those are, to me, that's the classic color. You know, especially if you're going for like a Les Paul or something like that. Violin burst is beautiful. Congratulations on that, Casey. How do you like it, man? Is that something you've been eyeing for a while? Or is it a spur of the moment, last minute gift for yourself? So Mark says he wanted to get a jumbo for the low end. Yeah, absolutely. The jumbos are do definitely provide more low end. Although I think the Takamine, anyways, those guitars they seem to have a little bit more high end, naturally a little bit more high end. So having a bigger body on those acoustic guitars definitely fills out the tone. Takamine, Vinny says. Takamine. Anyways, we know what we're talking about, guys. And Vox says, can never have too many acoustic guitars. I tend to agree with that. Can never have too many guitars in general, I think. Cool Tune says he's looking on, he's 12 string. Yeah. The thing about 12-string acoustic guitars, Cool Tunes, is exactly that. Like, you don't necessarily need it for every song, but it definitely sounds so nice that you kind of want a 12-string guitar, even with all the pain involved with tuning that darn thing. When you strum that beautiful open G chord, you know, and you hear that chorus effect when everything's in tune properly, it really is nice. I ended up getting one just like that, you know, for giggles, and I love breaking it out every now and then, just strumming a few chords. And there's definitely a couple of like iconic songs that you actually would need a 12-string guitar to really get the full sound, you know. So that's really it's a fun guitar to play. Rico says that his Firefly striped Wolfgang copy has the humbucker coil split on the tone pot. You ever seen that before? I've only seen on a volume pot. I don't think it really matters which pot is used for the tone split. I think you can put it on volume, tone, wherever you want to put it. It's just a question of how the circuit is wired on the inside. A lot of times they do put them on the volume, yeah, but you know, I don't think it's the type of thing that you only have that choice. I think you can really wire it however you like. Are you using that tone split a lot, Rico? I found all the guitars that I have that have a tone split function, I don't really use it all that much because I find I like the full sound of the full powered pickup, and when you split it, it kind of sounds a little bit anemic most of the time. Now it all depends on the guitar and the pickup, of course. They're not all the same, but that's, you know, some of the things that I've noticed on my guitars. So I don't really use it all that much. It's nice to have, though, in case you do want to use it. It's nice to know that it's there, but it's not something that I go to all the time. So Jack confirms that the R-Tone Rider, I thought I recognized the name of the pickups. You made a good choice. Tone Rider make really nice pickups. Some of my favorite single coil pickups are Tone Riders, and I did buy a couple of sets of humbuckers in the past that were also Tone Rider. They don't really disappoint. I think you get your money's worth with those pickups. So Jack, how do you like it so far? in terms of the Alnico 5s? Is that the first time that you install Alnico 5 pickups in your guitar? A lot of people will go with the 5s. A lot of people like the 2s. It really depends on what kind of dynamics you're after. Okay, so guys, we're at show 236 today. Just as a reference, in case you've missed a few shows along the way and you want to catch up, it's always fun to go and see the previous shows as well, because although they're not necessarily the most recent shows, there's a lot of good exchange of information that happens on these Sunday shows, and a lot of people do mention certain products that they like and some problems that they've had with gear and whatnot, and we offer solutions when we can. So it's always good. It's a good reference. So Mark had a question here. Hey Mark, what's happening? So Mark wants to know, what is a good amp for about $1,500? I've heard Friedman and Shure are very well made. They are. So here's the thing. I mean, I guess you're in the United States, Mark, because you can't really get a Friedman, at least not a brand new Friedman, for $1,500 here in Canada. They're more expensive than that. I think even used ones. I think used Friedman, like the smaller ones, will sell used for about $1,500. Excuse me. The Sur are probably even more expensive. They're great. They're great amplifiers. If you have, if you can grab any of those for $1,500, yeah, I would say go for those. Those are great. I'm really impressed with the Marshall Studio Vintage 20 that I have. Great amplifier as well. I'm playing through it right now. I have it plugged into this guitar, and can't go wrong with that. I think that one is actually less expensive than either one of the other two. So I think it's less expensive than the Friedman, less expensive than the Sur. Great. I think it's a great amplifier. I'm obviously a Marshall fanboy. You can tell by my shirt. So I think those are great choices. And obviously the Marshall, if you can get it used, would probably be the lower of those three choices. Jack says he hasn't put the pickups in yet. He just got them. So is that a weekend project or a project for after Christmas, Jack? I always love, when I get something new like pickups, I just want to put them in there as fast as I can. Just start enjoying them, you know. So anyways, let us know, Jack, when you actually put them in, how it works, what you feel. Was it a good choice? Now, which guitar are you intending on upgrading? Just so the rest of the people here know. Now, guys, as per usual, when I have your attention, please give us a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. We sometimes forget, and we get into all of the discussions, and it's all good. But at the same time, I like to remind people to give us a thumbs up so it supports the channel. I would appreciate that. All right, let me just scroll through the chit chat here and see what I'm missing. Hey Presley, what's happening, dude? Presley says, what do you Takamine? Thanks, Marcel. Thanks for reminding the group to hit the like button. I appreciate that. And it reminds me too. Sometimes I forget myself, so I really appreciate that. Rexomatic says that he had a chance to play a Cherry Burst Epiphone inspired by Gibson Hummingbird with the Fishman pickups, which was on sale for $850. I didn't buy it, but it seemed like a really nice guitar. Well, Rex, I do have a video on that guitar. Exactly that one. I ended up buying one with the Fishman pickup as well. And I like it. I mean, it sounds quite a bit different than my Martin guitar. Obviously, it's a different shape. It's more of a bigger sound, maybe not as focused as my Martin is, but it's a really nice sounding acoustic guitar, and I really bought it because I got it for a really low price. I think I ended up paying that guitar like $500, but it was used when I bought it, so it was practically brand new. The guy that I bought it from probably didn't like it or whatever the reason was, but I ended up getting it for about $500, so I couldn't resist. It was brand new, honestly, not a blemish on it. And for that price, I said, you know what? I'm really partial to the split parallelogram inlays. I love the look of that. I liked the look of the guitar overall. The only thing that I did to that guitar was I darkened up the fretboard because it was a little bit light. So I reached out and used the Monty's, what they call, it's like a little paste wax type of thing that can darken your fretboard without damaging it. And I did that, and it looks really nice and rich now. And oh, actually no, I did two mods on that guitar. I did that. I darkened the fretboard, and I also changed the pegs in the bridge on the acoustic guitar to bone pegs, because I think the ones on the guitar that come with its stock are plastic. So I decided to upgrade to bone. Did I hear a huge difference? Not that much. Maybe the attack ended up being a little brighter and a little bit more immediate than the plastic pins were on that guitar, but overall it really scratched my itch for the full-blown Gibson Hummingbirds, which sell for about $4,000, right? And one thing I want to say, a lot of people knock that guitar and say that it's a little bit, doesn't sound as bright or as focused. The strings that you put in that acoustic guitar, or any acoustic guitar for that matter, make a humongous difference in the sound that you're hearing. And putting in the right strings will make a world of difference. I experimented with a couple of different strings, and I think I finally found the ones that I like in it. So I recommend doing that. Just don't give up on an acoustic guitar just because it might not sound perfect right out of the gate. Max says, isn't Monty's cream just beeswax with dark brown shoe polish? I don't think it's shoe polish. I think he uses coffee. I think his mixture is some kind of a wax with, because he calls it Monty Presso. So he's playing with the idea of coffee. So I think he's actually using coffee grounds as the actual color in that thing. I don't know exactly how it works, but I'm glad that it's not toxic, because a lot of people do resort to shoe polish for their fretboard. That's an old trick that's been floating around the internet for a long time. But shoe polish is toxic. There's chemicals in there that are not good for you. So I would prefer, using coffee as opposed to toxic chemicals if I'm going to be touching it with my fingers. Music and Gears says, Tony, people sometimes not what others play their guitar. A good guitar is a guitar that you like and play. I think you meant knock what other people play their guitar. A good guitar is a guitar that you like and play. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. There are snobs out there, cork sniffers we like to call them. And I think I've been a cork sniffer at some point in my life also. I mean, you can't help it. But at the end of the day, I think after you start owning quite a few guitars, you start to see what the trend is in terms of, out of X amount of guitars, how many of them are actually really good, how many of them are so-so, and how many of them are just hype. And I think you start I think that whole idea of, you have to spend a lot of money to get a good guitar is not always true. So I don't like to knock anybody's guitar. I think if you like what you're playing and it really encourages you to play, why knock it? I mean, the old story of, look at Eddie Van Halen's guitar, for example. It was really a piece of junk, but it became his number one guitar because he liked the way it feel. It worked for him. He put it together from parts, and he wasn't playing other guitars at the beginning. He ended up going to other guitars eventually, but that's probably also because of, money. At the end of the day, he probably got some really lucrative endorsement deals from a lot of companies, and that definitely helps sway your opinion. But maybe if it wasn't for those endorsement deals, he'd probably still be playing his Frankenstrat. Who knows? He played it for many years and it seemed to work for him. Vox says that strings make an enormous difference in the sound of acoustics. My Martin Lives elixirs and my Norman B70 sounds best with phosphor bronze. I think you meant my Martin Loves elixirs. Yeah, you got to play around with different gauges and types of strings. With the Hummingbird, the Epiphone Hummingbird, I went with brighter strings because the guitar is big and tends to be a little bit more like lacking in the higher mids. So going with some brighter strings definitely gave it a little bit more air on top. Dan says, Cork Soaker, the famous SNL skit. I remember that one. How long have you been soaking corks? That's a classic. Love that one. All right, so Presley says, ever play Chromes? They make a 10 to 48 set. They're pretty awesome. I've never actually played Chromes, no. I wonder how they feel, Presley. Do you feel a difference when you play the Chromes? For acoustic guitar, I tend to stick with brass. But who knows? Maybe I'll give the Chromes a try. You guys might laugh at me, but those 7s that I purchased 2 packs of 7s, the Billy Gibbons 7-gauge strings. I still haven't put them on a guitar. I still can't decide which guitar to put them on. I might just slap them on a Les Paul, some kind of a Les Paul style guitar, and see how they fare. I got to do that. You know what? I think I'm going to do that today. Later today, after the show. It's time. I've put it off long enough. So Dave says he's thinking about putting his old EMGs in his Brian May Strat to cut the noise. Yeah, that would definitely do the job. A lot of people, I remember those EMGs were very popular back in the day. I think they were made pretty popular by people like David Gilmour. At one stage, he was playing EMG pickups a lot, and he was doing some advertising for them. And yeah, if you're doing any kind of a recording and you do want to have like dead quiet pickups, the EMGs would be a good choice for that. Of course, you can also use the a noise gate or something like that as well if you're not crazy about active pickups. I was never a big fan of active pickups myself. I just feel like, they're not bad sounding at all, but I feel like they don't sound exactly like regular pickups. They do sound pretty different. Beyond the noise factor, the fact that they're dead quiet, I feel like they lose a little something. And they're more expensive. And you have to have a battery. A couple of things that I'm, not crazy about. For me, I don't mind the noise. I don't mind the noise that much. Like I always say, once the drummer kicks in, what's the difference? um, let's see here. Ian's Guitar Shack. Hey Ian, what's happening? Says, finally putting my 2 notes Torpedo Captor X SE to use. Why did I not do this sooner? Bought it 6 months ago. 2 notes makes great stuff. The Captor is a great idea. A lot of people do get a lot of usage out of that thing. If you're doing any kind of playing or recording and stuff at home, the Captor is a really good device. And yeah, you should have done it sooner for sure. I'm sure you're going to love it, dude. Once you use it to its full potential, there's a lot of doors that it opens. I'm a big fan of the aux box that I have here. I decided to go, I was looking at the Captor at one stage, and then I decided to go with the aux box just because it had a couple of extra features that I really like. And I'm so happy that I went that route, because it just makes playing at home so much easier. It really, really does. I'm playing through it right now, actually. I'm playing this guitar right now. This is one of those EART guitars. Pretty sweet guitar overall, man. I'm pretty happy with this guitar. I think I did a review on this guitar. I'm pretty sure I did. Look at that. It even has the same kind of cutaway that you get on the high-end Sir guitars in the back, and the really nice chamfer here in the back to make it really nice to play. And I love the flat color, and you can still see some of the wood. That's what I really like about it. I don't like when you can't see the wood. The only thing I don't like about this guitar is why they decided to use different colored plastics. You know, the pickguard is kind of like an aged pickguard, but look at the pickups and the knobs and all that. You get like a pure white on those. I don't know why they do that. To me, I wouldn't have done it that way. I would have just matched the pickguard, but it is what it is. Sometimes you can't. Somebody decides. So anyways, I'm playing this guitar, and so basically I'm playing through my Marshall, going through the aux box here. I love this sound. It just sounds so good, man. It just makes the... For me, the Marshall is the sound, and I'm playing that Marshall without any effects. It's just going straight to the amplifier. Straight pipe, right in. If you crank it, you get into the sweet spot, and the rest is, the rest is gravy. You can always throw some kind of a pedal in front of it if you want, but you don't have to, you know. The EART guitar, Dave's, they're pretty good. I mean, they're built well. Only thing I would upgrade would be the pickups if you want to get the full potential out of this guitar. But it's really built nice. I mean, it's not shabby at all. For the amount of money that these things cost, you can grab them all day long. And you're not going to regret it. I think I have 3 now. I have this one. I have a one that looks like a Telecaster, and I have another one. So yeah, I went crazy on these guitars just because they're great modding platform, and you don't have to worry about them so much. Okay, let me catch up here. Let's see. Tony, does it get easier to play so many different guitars? What do you mean easier, Dan? I don't find it difficult to play more guitars. The only thing that gets difficult about having a lot of choice is room. You run out of room. You know, I was thinking about that. A lot of people right now, this time of year, a lot of YouTubers end up doing this, you know, the best of, 2024, my favorite guitar of 2024, my favorite pedal amplifier, whatever it may be. I was thinking about doing something like that, but it wouldn't be the best of 2024. It would be sort of my, the best of what I have so far type of thing. I don't necessarily choose my gear by date. I just choose by what I like. So, but it would be really difficult for me to narrow it down, It would almost have to be like a three-parter where it would be like, these are great starter guitars, modding platform starter guitars. These would be great mid-tier guitars, and these would be the guitars that I would never sell. It would have to almost be like a three-parter, which would make a pretty long video. So I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but I might. Eventually I might. Who knows? Hey, somebody in the waiting room before the show went on was talking about brass bridge blocks. That you saw some kind of a video, or you were looking into some kind of bridge block. Who mentioned that? I forgot the name. I didn't see that. Let me go back if I can see. Somebody was talking about that anyway. It's funny you mention it, because I do have a video on exactly those bridge blocks that I did a while ago. I think it's this video here. I'll share the link with you guys. The FU Tone bridge block. You can watch that later on if you're interested. Basically, I did the experiment with my Squier guitars. I have two Squier contemporary guitars that are basically identical except for the color. So I took those two guitars, being that they're very similar, and I did install one of the brass bridge blocks from FU Tone in one of them, and I did a side-by-side comparison. So if you guys are interested and you're thinking about making that mod, then take a look at the video and you can decide for yourself if you hear a difference. For me, I would think, from what I heard and the way I felt the guitar when I was doing the video, there's not a huge audible difference. You might have a bit more sustain in the note, but you don't really hear that much of a difference in the note itself. It does feel a little bit different too. But I'll leave it up to you guys. You can watch it and you can tell me if you hear the difference, or if it's, worth the upgrade. Let's see here. So Dave says that his favorite guitar of 2024 is a reissue of a guitar from 1958. Just see, yeah. Does that qualify, Dave? I don't know, man. Can we say that it's I'm not sure if that qualifies. Maybe it does. I guess it does. Hey, there's so many reissues today. Everything's a reissue of something. So I guess we have no choice, right? So Max says that he put into his Squier Strats a Fender Tex-Mex SSS pre-wired pickguard. They sound amazing. They do indeed, Max. Yeah, those Tex-Mex pickups really do sound good. If you're looking for that bite, you want to have that nice bite, I really like the Tex-Mex option. It's amazing how those Squiers could be really elevated with just a pickup upgrade. So yeah, good choice, Max. Hey guys, just another reminder, please give me some thumbs up. I know there's about 62 pairs of eyes on me right now, and there's only 35 thumbs up, so either I pissed off half of you, something I said, I don't know. But I would appreciate it if you can give me a couple of thumbs up. It would encourage the channel. Hey, Davis says, Tony, FU Tone now produces an entire brass tremolo unit for Strats. Sounds expensive. Never tried an entire unit. That could be interesting. Hey, if a block makes a difference, then obviously the entire tremolo must make an even bigger difference, right? Or one would think. Have you tried it, Davis? Is that something you're going to be looking at? I'd be interested in seeing what kind of difference it makes. The guys at FU Tone really, they're pretty ingenious with what they come up with. They come up with some great ideas in terms of just tweaking tone. So if you're a tweaker, and I mean that with all due respect, you can definitely get your rocks off, I guess, with the FU Tone stuff. I would recommend checking them out. Really cool things. All right. So, one of the topics I wanted to bring up in today's conversation, and this is more of a public, sort of a, how can I put this? Public service announcement, if you want to call it that. If any of you own Blackstar amplifiers, specifically the debut 100R combos, I don't know if anybody owns any of those. If you do, raise your hand. There was an announcement that was put out not too long ago, and some of you may have already heard about this, but it was kind of new to me. Apparently, they have issued an urgent product safety recall notice affecting these 100R guitar amps because they run the risk of a serious electric shock. So if you have any of these, what they recommend is that you stop using them immediately. They say just unplug them and don't use them. Now, I don't know if they're issuing some kind of a refund or if they're going to do anything there. I don't really know. They don't really mention that. But they do mention to look at the serial number. And the serial number all begin with 21. Then there's 3 letters followed by 4 numbers. That's the date code. Now, if your amplifier reads between 2403 and 2411, then you should stop using it immediately and remove the power cord and just basically throw it in the garbage. No, I'm kidding. Just don't use it. And they actually say don't be tempted to carry on using it. Switch the amp off, get it fixed by contacting your nearest Blackstar distributor who will arrange everything. So that's kind of sad news. And I don't hear that too often with music gear. So hopefully you guys don't have any of those amplifiers. And you're safe. Vinny says, ad number 2. Friggin' YouTube, man. Dan wants to know, hey, anybody, is the Boss Katana amp for $100 any good? Sure, it's good. Dan, yeah, those katanas are great. A lot of people love those katana amps, and if you can get them for $100, yeah, man. It's transistor, it's not tube, but I mean it does the job. Why not? Why not grab one and have an easy grab and go, amp at your disposal? Absolutely. Hey, Cool Tunes, thanks for the super chat, buddy. I appreciate it, man. I always get the warm and fuzzies when you guys support the channel, and it's wonderful that you guys feel that there's value in what I'm doing here, at least, right? All right, now, Steve, I don't know if there's any recalls on the Blackstar Sonnet 60. As far as I can tell, it's only the debut 100R so far. Hopefully. So you should be safe. Nobody wants to end up like, the guy in Back to the Future and get blown across the room when you strum that open E chord. Just like, and then you fly across the room. David wants to know, does anyone mainly practice with headphones? I think a lot of people actually do, David. I practice often with headphones on, just because it's way more convenient. From time to time, when there's no one home, I'll definitely crank it. And then I get the warnings on my Apple Watch saying loud environment, loud environment. And I'm sure it's a loud environment in here too when I'm practicing with headphones. But at least I don't bother anyone else. Just more convenient. I'm pretty sure if we would take a poll today, most people would probably be playing low volumes, headphones, that type of thing. Steven, how's it going, Steven? Hope you're doing well. Back in the 70s, a good friend flipped my Ampeg V4's polarity switch. At the time, I was playing a full bar chord on my 12-string Hagstrom strung with silver silk wounds. Talk about a shock. Hey, man, we joke, but you can actually die from that, man. You got to be super careful. It's no joke. There have been people that have gotten shocked, and some of them even have died on stage after some kind of electrical issue like that. Make sure your stuff's grounded. Hey, especially if you're buying old gear. A lot of that old vintage stuff doesn't even have the ground wire. You have to actually mod the plug to actually have that ground wire. And if you don't have that ground wire, it's important. So Dave's looking for headphones. You know, Dave, I use these Sennheiser headphones here. They're the HD 590 headphones. I like these. And the reason why is because they're open headphones. They're not closed. So in other words, I can hear the room. There's a grill in these headphones. You can actually see the speaker in here. So because they're not completely isolated, you can hear the room. And I just feel it gives the whole experience of playing your guitar through headphones a more natural feel to it. So I recommend them. They have really nice padding. They're like velvet pads, so they don't get sticky and sweaty. They feel like pillows. You hardly realize that you're wearing these. So the HD 590s from Sennheiser is really, I would say, a thumbs up for me. I've tried the more affordable Sennheisers, but they're not the same. It's better to buy something good once than having to buy a couple of inferior things a few times. You know what I mean? I take that attitude with tools and whatnot. Like a tool might cost more if you buy a good one. But if you don't buy a good one, you're just going to have to buy a few cheap ones first, then realize I should have bought the good one right off the bat. You know? Saves you frustration down the line. Mazzetti, how's it going, dude? Anyone have experience with the LSL guitars? Sadikoi, one in particular, as good as Sir? I don't know, man. I've never, haven't seen them. Are those European models? I'm gonna take a look. I'm curious now. SLS guitars. And you're talking about the Satikoi. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so it's a Strat. It's kind of like a Strat copy, I guess. I can share this with you guys. We'll take a look at it together. There you go. So basically, it's a Strat. Let me just turn off this thing here. There we go. So basically, it's a Strat guitar. Looks nice. And then they have the seconds, I call them. The road worn options. What's the price on these things? Any price? No price. Interesting. Okay. I haven't tried these. I don't know. They look cool. They look very nice. Where are these guys from? Let's see here. Huh. California, I guess. United States. Very cool. No, haven't tried them. I couldn't comment on those guitars, but hey, they look really nice. They look expensive. What's the price on those things? Do you have an MSRP? There's so many great guitars being made by small builders, and you know, I support the small builders. I like to support them because, you know, they're putting a lot of love and attention into their products. And, you know, it's not an easy thing to compete with the big boys. So I encourage, you know, we want to encourage them because they're giving us more choice, more options. Yeah, I could see that, Eddie, that they're high-end guitars. They look high-end just by looking at them. David says, interesting point about open headphones. I've been using closed headphones for years, but recently I've been feeling claustrophobic. Don't know how to explain it. Yeah, you really feel like you're in a box, you know, when you're dealing with closed headphones. Like when you have the open headphones, I hear myself. I can hear my voice. I can hear what's going on around me. It just feels like it's part of the room, you know. So I would highly recommend open headphones if you're looking for that kind of option. Boomerang wants to know if you can get pad replacements. I'm pretty sure you can. Companies like Sennheiser are more than happy to rip you off on any kind of accessories. You can probably get replacement pads, and they're probably going to cost a lot. What I like about these headphones is this. Check this out. You can just pull out the plug. So you don't break the plug. You can just replace it. It's just a phone jack that you can plug into the bottom. God knows how many times I step on the plug, guys. And that, you know, what ends up happening is that it just rips out and then you're stuck. This one just clips in and locks. So even if you rip off the plug, you can replace it. I've purchased a couple of replacements already. So $2,200 new for that that guitar. Yeah, I mean, if it's a handmade type of stuff, that's not that bad. Yeah, the Sir guitars and the Friedman guitars are definitely up there in terms of cost as well. So that's not a bad deal. Marcel says he's using the HD 599 SEs. Yeah, I think the ones I have are they're no longer being made. I don't think they're still around. I think they've been discontinued, but they're still working. Okay, so the other thing here I have on my list of to talk about, basically, a couple of interesting things beyond the obvious recall. I picked up this little pedal here. This is the NuX Diamond pedal. It's part of their reissue series. I mean, you guys have probably seen that. They have a few different ones. I think they have a Plexi one, and then they have this one. So I've never actually owned a real Vox amplifier, and I don't know if I'm like ready for Vox. So I didn't want to take the plunge and spend a lot of money on another amplifier because I already have limited room here. So I decided to get the pedal instead and see if I can get in the ballpark with this thing. It's about a $50 pedal. Not super expensive. I like the way it sounds. I've only used it on my Marshall so far, very briefly. And it does have the top boost switch on it as well. I like the type of, I like the top end that it introduces as on my Marshall. And what it does is it doesn't have a lot of gain on tap, but it pushes my Marshall just enough to give it a little bit more brightness on the top end of the sonic spectrum, which I really like. So I'm going to experiment with it a little bit more, and then maybe do a review on it for you guys and see if you guys, you know, something that might be right for you guys as well, depending on what kind of amplifier. I haven't tried this one in my Princeton. I'm curious to see what it would do going through my Princeton. You know, but you basically want a relatively clean amp. So I'm assuming that the Princeton would be a good option for this pedal. Maybe my Supersonic 22 clean channel would probably work well with this. Yeah, it's basically, it's supposed to be, anyway, a Vox in a box. So we'll see. I mean, I'm always looking for new sounds. And I contemplated this week maybe grabbing the Blues Driver again, just because there's so many people talking about the Boss Blues Driver. And honestly, when I tried it for the first time, and this was many, many, many years ago, I immediately wanted to sell that. I sold it right away. I sold it like maybe 2 days after I bought it. I didn't like it at all. But yet, a lot of people are still saying it's the best thing since sliced bread, and I don't get it. And I'm like, maybe I missed something. You know, maybe I wasn't playing it through the right amplifier combo or something like that. So I'm willing to give it another shot, but I jump on YouTube and I do listen to other people's videos, and after listening to them, I'm like, I don't know, it still doesn't sound good. So I don't know if I'm missing anything here, but do any of you out there currently own a Blues Driver from Boss? And if you do, give me your feedback. I'm curious. Because honestly, I was close to pulling the trigger on that one again, just for like an experiment. And yesterday I decided, no, I'd be making a mistake, I think. Boomerang says, I have a Soldano amp pedal. It's made in Russia. Sounded okay. The power for it was unusual. Yeah, because it's coming out of Russia, right? So how did you end up making it work? European power supply or power supply converter or something like that? Interesting. Paul says, Tony, a guy who owned a Vox AC30 said Nuix nailed it. I love mine. Yeah, I think it's just a question of the right amplifier combo. It probably doesn't play well with all amplifiers. You want to try and have something that's relatively clean to start. But I'm going to be experimenting with it. I'm going to try and find the right combo. I'm going to see which amp combination works best with it, and then maybe do a video for you guys. Anybody interested in hearing it. I'm sure there's plenty of other videos already out there, but it's fun to give you another perspective on that. So Eddie says, if I'm buying a Strat copy, it really has to do something that a Fender can't, and I find that rarely happens. That's a good point, Eddie. I see what you mean, and I kind of use the same. I kind of have the same attitude, because I feel like if you're gonna spend a lot of money on something that's basically a Strat, why not just get a Strat to begin with? What ends up happening sometimes is, although these boutique guitars are really, really good, if ever you want to sell them, you lose a lot on them, unless they're really, really sought after guitars. Like the Sirs and stuff, yes, they cost a lot of money. The PRSs also cost a lot of money and all this kind of stuff, but they don't tend to depreciate as drastically as some more obscure builders. I'm not saying that they're not good. I'm sure these guitars are amazing, but you might lose a lot when it comes to resale value if you're if you're not sure if you're going to keep it forever. Dave says that the blues driver stacked with a tube screamer works pretty good for my buddy Dave. So you have to stack them? Yeah, I can always... Boomerang's right. You could always see if a local music shop has the pedal you're interested in to try. Yeah, can always do that. I don't like trying pedals at music shops though, because you gotta play pretty loud, and I feel like when you're trying to keep the volume down, you don't really get into the sweet spot, you know. So like you're not really convinced you're making the right decision. NFM says, I have a blues driver, but whenever I reach for it, I grab my Wampler Tumnus instead. So I guess you're answering my question. I have a Tumnus as well, so I might as well just stick with that. Sometimes the difference between a pedal and another pedal is just not enough to justify owning both. And that's what I usually find to be the case. So then you end up reevaluating, and I don't always keep the most expensive one. You know, sometimes I'll actually sell the more expensive one if a budget version is close enough, just because I feel like, why tie up money in a more expensive pedal when I can get the same, or close to the same with a cheaper one. And then if it breaks, who cares? Just buy another one. Max, I agree with you on that comment as well. He says, in some cases, a Boss equalizer is the best to get that perfect tone from your effects pedal. Absolutely right. And I mentioned it in one of the previous Sunday live shows. An EQ pedal is a pedal that I think everybody needs to have on their board. If you don't have an EQ pedal on your board and you're playing live gigs, or playing with other musicians, not just playing alone, you're missing out, because you can really sculpt the sound to your particular individual needs quite a bit. It really gives you surgical precision in terms of the frequencies that you're hearing, and sometimes it does the trick. That's all you need. So it doesn't have to be an expensive one either. You can get a cheap Joyo or something like that until it breaks, and you'll be fine. Excuse me. Paul says he just got the Joyo Bright Day. He says it's a Boss Wazacraft Blues Driver clone. In an AB shootout, they nailed it at $37. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about in terms of like affordable options. It doesn't have to be 100% the same, but if it gets you in the ballpark, $37 is pretty good. Although the blues drivers, I've seen them on the used market for like $100 or less. So, they're not extremely expensive. So SB says, Paul, how happy are you with that Joyo? I asked because I'm scouting for a Joyo Uzi pedal, basically a Marshall in a box distortion from Joyo. SB, I did a video on that pedal. I have the Uzi, and I was comparing. If you go to I did a video, Klon pedals. Let me see if I can dig it up for you here. But basically, it was a bunch of Klon pedals I was comparing, and the Uzi was actually one of them. So you'll hear it in that video clip. I think that they're really well made, by the way, those specific pedals. Let me see if I can dig it up real quick for you. Yeah, here we go. I found it. So I'll just share it in the comment section for you guys. Most of the stuff that you guys are asking me, I more than often have a video on it. So you can watch that later on as well. It was a shootout with different pedals that are kind of in that Klon territory, and the Uzi was in that one too. Some of you were asking, like, you're curious to see what I purchased or what I'm gonna purchase for Christmas for myself. Not a lot. I mean, I do have something that's gonna be coming, which is a bigger purchase. I'll save that for a video because that's something that I want to experiment with first before I actually jump on here and show you that. But I buy a lot of little things instead of going crazy and buying really expensive stuff. I mean, most of the stuff that I have right now scratches that itch. So I like spending my money on little things. I can show you a couple, like the pedal is one, right? This is like a $50 pedal. So that's something that I'm going to be playing with in the next few days. I also bought these picks. I talked about them last week, I think. It's basically a bag full. I think there's 25 picks in here. These are the Nile Flex picks that I spoke to you about last week, and they're basically sort of, they're kind of a copy of the older, more expensive picks that I've been using, and I bought about 5 of those, and they're already all gone and lost. So I said, let me try these and see how they feel. They're not as good. I thought they would be pretty much the same feel. They're pretty much the same size and pretty much the same thickness, and I think pretty much the same material, but they still don't sound 100% the same. But I keep on losing my darn picks, and see, I'm looking for it now. I don't know where they are. Where did I put them? I don't know. They end up falling on the floor and stuff, or underneath my. Anyways, I got these. Not a big expense, and I also bought this. I was looking for another headstock tuner. Ended up getting this. I had the Snark. I think I have the Snark over here, but it keeps on breaking on me. There we go. Yeah. See, I have the Snark, and what ends up breaking on the Snark is this stupid little connector in the back here. This thing, the little ball swivel, it ends up breaking. You can see I have a tie wrap around this guy. Falls off. So I ended up getting something cheaper. It's a bit bigger, as you can see here. Bigger than the Snark, has a more real estate here, and is less expensive, and has more options. It's this guy here. It's the, can you see that? It's called the Pixtune. It's made by Cherub, Cherub. And what's cool about this, check this out. They have a pretty solid backside to this thing here. So yeah, it's a nice clip. It's adjustable. It's got the swivel and everything. But check this out. This is what I found really cool. Look what happens when I turn it on. Can you see this? Let me see if I can get in the right light. I'll turn it on. Give it a sec. I gotta press the power button here. Check it out. Did you see that? You probably didn't see it. It went by too fast. I put my Addicted to Gear logo on it. So when it starts up, you can actually customize it with your very own logo. It's got a whole bunch of menu options and stuff. You can actually scroll down the menus, and you have all kinds of different options. Anyway, thought it was really cool because I can put my logo on it. Nobody can steal the darn thing. What ends up happening is you end up leaving it somewhere, and like people, oh yeah, that's mine. And then you're like, hold on a second. No, it's not. My logo's on it. So anyways, so I ended up getting that as well. Just little things to keep me busy, busy and distracted. It makes for a really cool stocking stuffer if you're looking, for someone. The cool thing about this little gizmo here is that there's a lot of options. I didn't even realize how many options it had till I started looking at the manual. But I mean, there's so many modes and stuff that you can do with this thing. A lot of instructions here. You can use it as a stopwatch. You can You can do the custom brightness. You can do low battery mode. You can do user displays. You can, I think there's how many tuning modes in there? There's like a whole bunch. It's chromatic, guitar, bass, ukulele. I think there's like 6 different tuning modes and stuff. So more than I would need. I just need to tune my guitar. I like the fact that there's no battery in this one, because the Snark had a removable battery that always would die on me. I can't stand that. This is a built-in battery, so I can just recharge it. And the display is really nice and big. I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty big. And it's pretty responsive too. Maybe I'll do a review on it or something. Wayne says, what does Wayne say? Oops, sorry. How did you get on the menu, Tony? You mean how did I load up the stuff here? It's actually an option. You can actually just download a little application, and once it's plugged in, this is powered by USB, so the battery in here recharges with a little USB connector. So once it's connected to your computer, you can just load your logo on it. You can load anything you want. And the cool thing is, and I'm going to play around with this, I think. I have some ideas about this. When you're tuning your guitar, right, so you have like, flat, sharp, and dead on, you can actually change the image that appears on your screen here underneath the arrows to tell you when you're on. So I have some funny ideas I'm going to be loading up in there just to fool around with people. To surprise them when they're using my tuner. Should be fun. Paul says I have 12 MIAB pedals. Where do I start? LOL. Best cheap one is the NuX Pedal Crunch, $65 USD. Best on the planet, Pedal Pal FX PAL 800 Gold Drive version 4, $200 USD. Again, these Marshalls in a box pedals, there's so many on the market. I mean, if anything, if there's one specific type of pedal that probably saturates the market, it is those Marshall in a box pedals. But it's a good thing, because if you don't want to spend that kind of money for a Marshall, one of these pedals gets you there. Hey Charles, what's happening? Charles 75N is here. Let's see here. Any other questions, you guys? SB says, Paul, I'm between that Joyo Uzi and the TCE Dark Matter. Maybe I'll just buy both, because both are like $50. Look, I can vouch for the Uzi. I think the Uzi is a good choice. Solidly made pedal. Sounds pretty good to me. Hey, J. Paul, what's happening, dude? J. Paul just came back from the grocery store, so you got all your goodies, all your snacks. I'm gonna have to hit the stores later on, and I don't want to do that, but I'm gonna have to. So I'm just saving up my courage to get in there with all those people, and I can't stand stores just before holidays, guys. Like the plague, I just avoid them. I only go if I really, really, really have to. NFM says, Tony, I get one pedal for Christmas. Seems like many YouTubers have the Strymon El Capistan Echo, but I've held off due to cost. Have you tried one? Thoughts? Other Echo options? I have the MXR now. I mean, I've tried the Strymon stuff. They make really good stuff. You're not gonna not like them. I think if you're looking for any kind of a delay unit or reverb unit or anything like that, the Strymon stuff, it's just top shelf stuff. can you get that kind of quality in other pedals? I mean, I haven't found, I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but I haven't found anything in a low budget pedal that really comes close to that. I think they're really, really well made units. So that's why they cost a lot of money. So, I mean, you can buy a bunch of inexpensive ones and then maybe still want to buy that one. I would say if that's what you have your heart set on, just save your money and get one. You can get them used too, right? They pop up used all the time. I think just just save up and get yourself that one, and I think you're going to like it. You're definitely going to have like the cream of the crop when it comes to, you know, quality pedals. You know what I'm looking for now, guys, is probably more stands, to be honest. That's probably another stocking stuffer, but like these Hercules stands that I have here, I need to put more guitars in them. So one option is just to buy the components, because from what I understand, Hercules does sell additional supports and stuff that you can kind of modify a 5 guitar stand, and you can squeeze in a couple more guitars. I've already done that. As you can tell, this one here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guitars in it already. It's really only supposed to have 5, but I need room. So, and on the other side, it's the same situation. So I might actually end up getting another one and, you know, squeezing a few more guitars on the rack and stuff like that. Should we look at... should we look at the poll question, guys? Let's look at the poll question. How are we on time? I'm already over the hour mark. Let's look at the poll question. I'm just going to pop it up here on the screen. The poll question was obviously a holiday type of question. And it was, as the holiday season approaches, what's at the top of your wish list as a guitarist? And I know a lot of you have already mentioned through the chat today what you're looking for. The 4 options in the poll question was a brand new guitar to ring in the new year. Number 2 would be an ultimate pedal board setup to craft my tone. Number 3 would be an amp upgrade to rock the holidays louder than ever. And number 4 would be essential accessories like strings, picks, and straps. So out of the 4 choices, I think the winner out of the 4 is a brand new guitar to ring in the new year. And I think that's an excellent choice. Nothing would make me happier than having a brand new guitar, you know, at the beginning of the year during the holidays. Just something really that I've had my heart set on, something that I've been looking at for a long time. That would make me extremely happy. I don't have something lined up yet. I like to put in the yet as the safe word, but 37% of you chose that option. So I think a lot of you do have something lined up for the holidays. Number 2 is essential accessories, strings, picks, straps. Like I mentioned to you just earlier, like for me, you know, little pedals and tuners and picks and stuff. That's always a great way of, like, you know, making you happy without necessarily having to break the bank. Little things that you enjoy throughout the year. 35% of you said you're looking at that. Then 16% of you said an amp upgrade. So not that many people are upgrading their amps, obviously, because, you know, amps are expensive. It's a big purchase. And 12% of you said the ultimate pedal board setup. So not that many of you are shopping for pedals. That's surprising. I would have thought that pedals would have been higher up on the list. We did have a couple of comments here. Let me just look at those. So Rexomatic says, don't really need anything for Christmas. Feel lucky to have some guitars and gear that are still new or new to me. Just looking forward to playing music with friends, perhaps some new friends I haven't met yet, and writing and recording a few more songs. Have a great holiday season. I've enjoyed your Sunday hangout. Hey man, thank you so much. I appreciate you. That's really nice. Glad to hear that. And honestly, Rex, I think that's the right attitude, man, because you can spend money on gear all day long, and then it's not fun just playing your gear alone. You want to play with other people, so definitely get out there and play your music with some friends. I think that's where the joy actually happens. That's where the magic happens to me. Steven says, just got a low-end Ibanez for myself for Christmas. So congratulations on that, Steven. I was gifted $500 last month. First brand new guitar in over 30 years. It needs a bit of TLC out of the box, but that's to be expected on a budget guitar. I will be spot leveling and recrowning the frets, as well as replacing the plastic nut. Stock pickups will have to remain until next cash infusion. Hey, man. Hey, look. That's the cool thing about guitars. And if you don't buy a new one, so you get enjoyment out of playing the guitar, owning the guitar, and modding the guitar. Sounds to me like you're already having fun working on the guitar. So that's really cool as well. Let's see here. Vinny's World said, can't wait to see what you got yourself for Christmas. So Vinny, I kind of talked about that a little bit. Smart Alex says, the holidays don't create any more desire to purchase than any other month of the year. If there's a great guitar or accessories needed, I buy it. Mostly used though, as it has more character than a new guitar. So basically, Smart Alex is buying stuff all the time, which I think is the right attitude. Make yourself happy. Life is short. Eddie Jr. says, Tony, guys, a good fret crowning file. Any recommendations? Stu Mac, obviously. Yeah. The one I bought is a good recommendation. Let me see here. Do they have that? I think they do have it on at the Stu Mac website. Let me just pull that up. I actually bought mine. I didn't buy it on Stu Mac. I bought it on eBay, and the reason why was because it was less expensive. Yeah, here it is. Stu Mac does have it. It's actually not that expensive. The one I bought, actually, correction. It is very expensive on Stu Mac. Sorry, the one I bought wasn't expensive because I bought it on eBay. The one at Stu Mac is $158. So I'll show you that one. So this is the one that is for sale on Stu Mac. I like these. They're diamond fret crowning files. They work really well. I bought the equivalent of this on eBay and paid it a fraction of the cost. I don't have the seller's name. It's been a while. I apologize. I don't really remember what the seller was. But if you go on eBay, you'll see it. Somebody's selling it. Comes in a black box, same shape, and I think I paid it like under $50. So I like these because they don't leave that much chatter on the frets. And like I say, you want to try and buy the best tools you can. Otherwise, you're just buying them multiple times. So if that's something that you're going to use, I mean, you buy a good crowning file, you're going to use it all the time. It's worth the money to buy the best you can afford. All right, guys, I think we're going to have to wrap it up. I've been talking an hour and 20 minutes, and we got to save some for next time. I really had a great time talking with you guys today, and I will try my best to have another show just before New Year's next Sunday. All right, so if you guys are around and you want to join me for a like a year-end live Sunday show, tune in. I think we can have some interesting chat, and what better way to celebrate the end of a year than with good friends talking about gear. I think that's always a great way. Max, by the way, the Hosco stuff is good. Yes, I highly recommend the Hosco files and whatnot. They're a really good brand out of Japan. They're good quality stuff. You can't go wrong with that. So anything made by Hosco usually is very good. So that's it, guys. We'll leave it at that for today. I want to leave you with this thought in case you're, a little downing, spending money on gear and whatnot. This is the way I like to look at it. This is my thought I want to leave you with for this week. So this holiday season, if you find yourself spending too much money on gear, think about this. The amount of money you've already spent on gear is really nothing compared to what you haven't spent yet. So don't worry about it. Enjoy, get what you want, have fun, and don't worry about the money. Money is made to be spent, guys. At the end of the day, happiness is what counts, right? Life is too short. Have a good week, guys. We're going to be talking to you again next Sunday, same time, same place. So please tune in for that. And I'm going to try and squeeze out a few videos this week since I have a little extra time on my hands. Hopefully I can get a couple of interesting new things out there for you guys to enjoy as well, okay? Have a great Christmas if I don't see you before then. And please enjoy yourself and your family. Spend the time with the people that you love. That's the most important thing, all right? See you guys soon. Have a great week. Cheers, guys.